Yo, this your boy Hippy K. That's Hippy to the K. I'm out here with the Balcony Talk with 316 Project. All right, our first question is, what do you think the city needs more help of to help artists like you thrive? I think it's slowly coming. We just need to work on building a better community, more unity, more of us being around each other, figuring out what each other needs. And once we figure that out, think it'll start making things be a better process. Next question is, when did you first feel like music was calling you, and what did that moment look like? I was about like 13, 14, and I was deep into the church, and a guy named Angelo Garibaldi, he now runs Humble Greatness Studios. He had came to my church to perform, and for some reason we just connected, and he had brought me up on stage to do his ad-libs. Did his ad-libs, saw all the fancy, the flashy lights and all the people around singing the songs, and it hooked me ever since then. So, shout out Humble Greatness Studios. It's been about over a decade since he got me onto this stuff. What's a dream collaboration you'd want to manifest and why? Dream collaboration, it'd be Money Man. Just because, I know he doesn't work with everybody. He's got to see some type of potential that he can help with and contribute to. So, if I could ever get on his radar, when I do get on his radar, that's going to be a dope collaboration to do. All right, we got, what's a bar you've written that you're most proud of? Probably on my song Walk of Testimony. And the first verse, I go, run through the flame, run through the fire, that's where hard work gets you. And that's just, why? It's because it almost feels like, when you make music, every day there's something that comes up, something pops up that's trying to stop you, especially stop you in your purpose. And that's just, it seems like an attack, so you just run through the flame, run through the fire, and work hard, and, you'll see where all that hard work gets you. Next, we got, who are some local artists, past or present, you think deserve more flowers? I'll do past and present. Let's see. Well, one, I'd say past, but he's actually still actively going at it, killing the scene right now. It's my guy XV. He's stopped by, blessed me with a verse. We've been in the studio a few times together. He's a super dope guy. I feel like, he's always been on the radar, but there's something about him, man. He deserves so much more love. Present, I'd say my dog Willie 2 times. Super good guy, super humble, and does everything he's supposed to do. And so I know if he just keeps it up, eventually, his time's coming as well.
How would you describe the music styles of XV and Willie 2 times?
I'd say they both focus on more of the positive outlook on life instead of focusing on a lot of the negativity around. And so with that being said, the fan base that they attract and the people that support them are genuinely great people that want to see other artists win. How do you stay grounded as an artist? That's a great question. Staying grounded, it just comes within my writing. I feel like whenever I'm losing touch with reality, it always helps me to write my thoughts down and just kind of turn them into a song, and it brings me back to the moment I'm supposed to be in, and me realizing that, all right, if we can get this into words, it's gonna be a good song. What does your creative process look like? I like to get with my producers, and if we don't have a beat already made, then they'll start making one from scratch. Once I hear the beat, it's almost like the words just come out of thin air. I'll just start grabbing them out and start forming a hook first. After the hook, I'll start working on the verse, and then just take it from there. If it deserves another hook, another verse, we just keep going.
Who are some of your producers that you like connecting with?
I like connecting with Dutch Beats, or he goes by Really Filthy Beats as well. Sojo, Sad Boy Chris, and SE Trill. Those 4 right there, I've been able to, the last 2 years, been able to put out over 100 songs, so like over 50 a year with just those 4 right there. What What was a time you wanted to give up, but something made you keep going? Time I've wanted to give up. Anytime anything happens with my family, so that happens quite a bit. Uh, a few times. Just some personal things like with my dad and with my cousin. It's always health issues. Those are the things that make me want to give up, but also at the same time, it's ironic because those are the same things that keep me pushing. I know if I was to stop and just focus on, whatever hardships they had going on, they would tell me, keep going, keep going, keep going, don't stop. So, the same things that make me want to give up are also the same things that keep me going. When you're writing, do you see it as storytelling, therapy, or something else? That's a good one. I look at it more as therapy, but sometimes it comes out as storytelling just because when you're writing out how you're feeling, it almost, you're telling a story about how you feel. So a lot of people look at it as storytelling, but for me, it's really just a venting session. Even with that song, Walking Testimony, just sitting there writing and pretty much letting my feelings go onto the beat. How does your environment shape your sound and message? It definitely molds, wherever you're around is kind of what you're gonna rap about, and especially if you rap about your life. So,
How does Wichita factor into your music? How has Wichita shaped you?
So, I feel like Wichita made it a little bit more. You got to be more in your face. There's different places you can move around and kind of make it like out of your room, kind of with just like the TikToks, the Instagrams and shit, things like that. But within Wichita, it's more of a in your face city. If nobody has seen you, they don't want to know about anything that you're doing. So you gotta be out, and that's how like the environment of Wichita shaped my sound. I was more now I'm back to making music for myself, but it was more music that like the clubs would like, that these venues would like, just because I knew if I wasn't in their face, nobody was gonna care about any of the music I was making.
How have you had to invest in yourself as an artist, and where do you see other artists selling themselves a bit short when it comes to pouring back into themselves on the business side of things?
So, of course, it's, investing comes with money, but I think deeper than the actual money part of things is you have to invest your time. You have to realize that you're not chasing the regular dream life that everybody else wants to live. So with that comes, your regular 9-to-5 probably isn't going to help you with your rap music. A lot of your old friends that are around probably aren't gonna help you get to where you want to get to. So like you just gotta stay locked in with it.
How do you navigate, because I know like that's kind of a big thing for a lot of people if they have creative endeavors or certain business practices. It always seems like a lot of the people closest to you are not your biggest supporters oftentimes. So have you ever had issues with that even in the beginning, or how do you navigate that?
Oh yeah, I think that's going to be an issue until the day I die, because that's when I'll stop. But yeah, I just deal with it with a smile, because at the end of the day, nobody owes you any type of support. So yeah, it's dope when your best friend comes around and is like, dog, that's a dope song, that's a good song, I'm about to go show that to everybody. Yeah, that's a good feeling. But I know when I'm making music, I'm making it for somebody who doesn't even know me, but is just in a darker place. And so that's more where I try to put my energy into, like everybody's gonna get greeted with a smile, but that smile's a lot bigger when I can tell that this stranger is genuinely connected instead of this friend just pushing it because it's me.
Gotcha. Feels more genuine in a way.
Yeah. This question is, what does being free mean to you in your art and in your daily life? Being free just means doing whatever you want to do. Not what you're able to do, but really what you want to do. Uh, Being free is, if you want to drop some music tomorrow, you can drop some music tomorrow. If you want to bring an artist from Nebraska, if you want to bring, if I want to bring my dog from Houston, Gringo, tomorrow, next weekend, I can do that out of my own funds just because I'm free. I'm not waiting on anybody else to give me the green light to be able to do something. So being free is just being able to do what you want when you want to do it. How has your music evolved over time? I focus more on the message now. Some of my older stuff is just music. It's just words behind the beat. But now I like to take a little bit more time I got a lot more listeners, so I want to give them something to really put their ears to.
What are some of the themes that you have in your music that people can expect to hear if they haven't listened to it yet?
Perseverance. Just don't stop. You'll hear that a lot in my music. Or you'll hear me rap about some of the pain and then how that pain turned into greater things today. Really just the broader messages. Do not stop whatever you're doing. Just keep going. All right, this last question is, what role does community play in your music and your purpose? It plays a huge role because if you can't have your community behind you, nobody else is going to get behind you. And so within the community, I think it's important to not just be a standout individual, but a standout that actually helps within your community. You can go anywhere else and try to do things, but when you're at the place that you've grown up in and have seen both sides of the negative and the positive, I think just really getting behind the community and pushing a better, more positive messages. That's just the key to anything in life.
Besides offering a music outlet for people and trying to speak to people in that way, what are some other ways that you try to give back to your community so you're not in a imbalance of, taking attention, taking money? What are you doing to pour back into the community?
I really like to focus on underprivileged families because within that family, there's always children involved. And I want to make sure that I know growing up, if I had a few more opportunities, that I could have been able to chase my dreams, maybe even accomplish my dreams a lot earlier in life. And so knowing that I can bring back some of those things for younger individuals that want to take music more serious, that's just the best thing I feel like I can really even do with music, is providing an outlet for the younger generation within here.
Would you ever offer mentoring if some younger artists came to you and were wondering how to get started if they kind of felt stuck?
Yeah, definitely. There's a few artists I've been working with right now. Both of them are 18. There's one of them that's really mashing the gas is Pay Me J. We get together and I'll shoot some reels for him, give him some game, give him some advice. And another one I just hit the road with is Lil Trill, and that's SC Trill's son. He's another one that's, he's young, he likes to listen. So as long as they listen, and are coachable, because that's how I'm still listening to this day and being coached. Yeah, there's always room for new people.
For sure. What do you love most about hip hop, and what do you think it needs less of right now?
What I love most about hip hop is that you could be yourself. And I know there's kind of a stigma around you got to do this, you do that, but the realer you are with yourself within hip hop, the more it pays off, the more your fan base grabs onto you because that's genuinely you. One thing it needs less of is ego and judgment. Of course, the ego's always going to be there because, a rapper gets some numbers, they start thinking they're big shots and all of this. But beyond that is throwing all that to the side and being able to work with yourself, work with other artists, and just not judging people is going to extend the scene way past the Wichita walls.
What do you look for in other artists when it comes to choosing your collaboration? So either an actual artist or a producer. Like, what usually sticks out to you to be like, yeah, I want to work with them?
Usually they're already doing it. They're doing everything that they're supposed to be doing. As for an artist, if I see them hitting the road, every so often, if I see them in the studio or proactively engaging with their community, it makes them stand out. So I always want to work with the standouts. And same with the producers. If you've been producing for so long, eventually you get to a point where you're good at it. And so your name starts getting a buzz, and that usually comes with just putting in work. So usually by the time I hear their name, they've been putting in work for 3, 4, 5 years. So just that consistency is what I like to work with.
Got you. When it comes to making your music, what are some values that you absolutely refuse to compromise on?
That's a great question. Some of the values I refuse to compromise on is making music that's not for me anymore. I used to make music for everybody else and what I thought would be good in the club and this and that. Now I think it's important that I stick to making music that I like. And I've slowly realized the music I like, a lot of other people like as well. It's just not as broad. It's not as broad as a fan base.
Do you feel more authentic now?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I'm making music more for myself.
Who would be in your Mount Rushmore of rap?
Ooh, of all time?
Yeah. Dead or alive?
Man. I'm starting up top with E40, just because his flows are insane. Comes up with anything and makes it sound good. So we got E40. Then I'm gonna go old, new. We'll go new generation. I gotta stick with that Money Man just because if he doesn't motivate you as a hustler, you have no motivation inside of you. Snoop Dogg, because he travels the world and he was able to actually brand, smoking, being a marijuana connoisseur. He's one of the first. I'm sure there's people before him, but he was one of the first in my generation to really brand that. Back new, we got Wiz Khalifa. He's same type of story. He's just a younger version of it. He was able to travel state to state as a connoisseur and really brand that. That's his lifestyle that he lives. I'm gonna end on a youngin' is the baby. He's steady working. He's had his endeavors of, where he does this and does that, but through all of that, he kept working. He kept his head down and just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, regardless of what anybody had to say. And that's something that's always admirable.
In regards to authenticity, do you think there's a place for, I guess I would call them kind of like character or persona rappers, where it doesn't really align, I guess, with who they are on a day-to-day basis? Do you feel like everything has to be very, cohesive between your day-to-day self and who you are in front of the world and on the stage? Do you feel like you need to be aligned in that, or is it okay to play a character?
I'd say every once in a while, because this is a business, so within that is entertainment. So every once in a while, I think it is okay to kind of step out and play a character. But at the end of the day, if you want longevity, then you have to love what you're doing. And so when you're constantly putting up pump fakes and trying to fake it, eventually you'll burn out. But the more realness that you let come through, the more of yourself that you put out onto, that platform, the more it starts feeling like you can't really fake it too much, because a lot of people see through that fakeness. And so if you just give them the real from the jump, that's when you let them choose if they like you or they don't like you. And from there you can decide how you want to take it.
I mentioned that because I feel like I guess there's definitely like a lot of young kids that come up that are like suburban or not tied to certain elements that they feel very drawn to speak on, and it sounds like they actively participate in, but that's not how they were raised, and they didn't necessarily have like any real connection to that. So I was just kind of asking that because I don't know. I think a lot of young people feel like they have to follow a formula to be relevant and to gain traction. So like, what would you say to younger artists that are coming up, like if they feel like they have to box themselves in?
I'd say if I was to get advice from somebody older than me when I was at that age, this is what I would want. And then I'll say how it is. What I would want is somebody older than me to tell me, keep it real with yourself and everybody else will fall in line. Unfortunately, that's the long game. That's the long run. You keep it real. You might gain a fan here, you gain a fan here, and a gain fan here. As to where if you were just to kind of play into that persona, which I don't recommend this at all, but this is kind of just what works, is if you play into that persona, you will gain a faster buzz and you'll gain, it'll come faster, but that's when you start burning out and not enjoying it as much as if you were just to play that long game. So I always recommend keeping it real with yourself and playing the long game, but I completely understand where the younger generation feels like they have to fall into a certain mold to be able to make it, and it's just because there's not enough role models out here within the rap industry.
I know like there's a big discussion I find myself in quite a bit since I've been interviewing artists, but you know, we've got a good mixture of, you know, trap and drill artists. We've got a lot of like boom bap, conscious type artists. And there's this discussion of there's not enough balance. There seems to be one pocket or a couple pockets of hip hop that seems to get most of the attention when it comes to virality in videos or getting shows, or it even hindering people from getting shows because of, you know, unfortunately, like really shitty circumstances going down at shows where, you know, people are in danger. So, you know, venues don't always feel comfortable offering up space for artists that have no ties to any of that type of behavior, and they have completely different messages. So, like, in your opinion, you know, because I know, like, basically whatever you interact with is going to become like your algorithm, but like, do you feel like there's kind of a hyper focus on very specific parts of hip hop, or do you feel like it's well-rounded?
I'd say right now, like today, it's getting closer and closer to being well-rounded, because I feel like my social medias are pretty unbiased because I don't interact with a lot. And so kind of just whatever is getting pushed to me is kind of just what I feel like is getting pushed around. And when I'm scrolling, I see a lot of positive around, which, you know, it didn't used to always be like that. It was the violence is what was selling. Mm-hmm. And now it seems like it goes back to that realness. It seems like there was almost a shift within music. And so I'm seeing a lot more of that positive message getting pushed more than all that negative and the violence.
So you think don't be discouraged and just kind of keep pushing it?
Oh yeah, especially if you like it. Like if you're enjoying what you're doing and you record that song and then you step away from the mic, you're like, I feel good about that. Keep doing it. Doesn't matter what you said, that if you feel good about it, somebody else will like it.
For sure. I think another thing that comes up in the city is the topic of gatekeeping. You know, a lot of people, if they're not aware, it's usually you have somebody who's in a position of power or influence that might directly stop others from being able to come up and attain their own opportunities. Have you felt like you've ran into that at all in Wichita?
When I wasn't working hard enough, that was the first thing I'd love to blame it on, was these people are gatekeepers. And then I went out and put in that footwork and I got into the same room as these gatekeepers. It's like, oh, you guys just didn't know who I was. So you weren't gatekeeping from me, you were just unfamiliar. And don't get me wrong, there's still gonna be the gatekeeping, like where they know who you are, they know exactly what you're doing, how much of a following you have, and they're just like, nah, you're not my homie, or you're not gonna help me, so I'm not gonna help you. But as far as just the gatekeeping, if you feel like you're being gatekeeped from something, work harder. And if you feel like you worked hard enough to where you deserve it, but you're still not getting it, go around it.
Create your own lane.
Yeah, there's so many ways to the same thing.
I got a couple fun ones then. You smoke weed?
Oh yeah, that's where the hippie comes from.
Dream blunt rotation.
Oh, that's dope. Okay. I want to go Will Ferrell first. Because that would just be great. So if I have Will Ferrell in the room, if I got Snoop Dogg in the room, and man, this is a crazy one, but it just popped in my head. I think just because he's the president now, I'd love to smoke with the president. So it'd be Trump. We'd get super baked. And I'm like, bro, what's going on, man? I want the truth.
Is there a genre of music that your listeners would be surprised to know that you engage with?
Oh yeah, I've got
What are some favorites that exist outside of like the hip hop R&B realm?
outside of hip hop and R&B. I like there's this guy named Carpet Man, and he makes good music. It's just he's singing. The beat behind it is dope. It's super alternative. And I'll catch myself listening to it, you know, in between this Moneybag Yo track, and in between this little baby track, there'll be this little singing guy come in. And so I think that'd be one of them, is that Carpet Man. Yo, what's up? This your boy Hippy K. That's HIPPY to the K. Thank you for tuning in to Balcony Talk with the 316 Project. You can follow me on all social medias at ITSHIPPYK. That's ITSHIPPY to the K. It's Hippy.